Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Father Ted Talks Faith in Action. Today, I wanted to answer a question from our Gmail account, which was, Father, how do we start to pray? And it's a really, really good question. It sounds like a very basic question, but a lot of people, they often tell me, Father, I don't know where to start, or, maybe I didn't grow up praying on a daily basis, or maybe when I was growing up as a kid, we did very basic prayers. Maybe we did Our Father before we went to bed. Or my parents told me, just to kind of do my own prayers. But now that I've gotten a little bit older, I want to kind of get into it a little more. I want to, expand my prayer routine or my prayer rule. And so, a lot of times people ask me this question, and I wanted to be able to answer today. So, practically speaking, if we've never prayed or we haven't really kind of gotten accustomed to praying within the Orthodox tradition, where do we start? Well, in the Orthodox Church, there technically is a prayer, one could say, for every part of the day. One of the books that we can kind of take a look at is this beautiful book here. This is called the Horologion. Okay, the Horologion means the book of the hours, and hora means time or hour, and this book of the hours basically governs all the kind of like daily cycles and even weekly cycles of prayer. So we use this at the chanter stand in the church, but some people have a smaller version of this at home, or when you have something called, for example, the Orthodox prayer book. Most Orthodox prayer books, whether they are in physical form or in digital form now, are based on this book, the Horologion. And the Horologion, basically, the book of the hours, has different services and different prayers for pretty much every single aspect and moment of the day. And so there are prayers, we have the hours. So, we have the 3rd hour, the 6th hour, the 9th hour, and we have all these different kind of hours based on the ancient Roman day, and there's prayers based on those and different services one can do during those kind of waypoints during the day. There is the, apodipno, which is the after the meal prayer. There are the evening prayers. There's the mesonichtiko. Mesonichtiko means the midnight prayers, like in the middle of the night. One could wake up, or one might be up or awake during the evening, depending on their job. So there's the midnight prayers. There are so many different prayers that we can do. There's prayers before meals. There's prayers after meals. There are the daily apolitikia, so the hymns of the saints of the day, and so forth and so forth. So basically, there are different prayers for different times of the day. If you are at home and you buy, let's say, an average Orthodox prayer book, which I would recommend, it's much more easier to kind of carry around. They're much more abbreviated and smaller than this whole Horologion Mega, the great Horologion, or even the small Horologion, which is much more in-depth and used at the chanter stand, because the chanters need to know all the different prayers in depth. But if you buy, let's say, an Orthodox prayer book, or you download an Orthodox prayer app on your smartphone, which thank God exists today as well, you will find that there are prayers for all different types of the day. So when you wake up in the morning, you'll see there are what is called morning prayers, and there's kind of an extensive series of prayers that one can read in the morning. And then, of course, there's even afternoon prayers and midday prayers. So why do I say all this? Why am I kind of bombarding you with all these different types of prayers that exist in this one beautiful book? Well, basically, it's not that the church expects us to pray all these prayers all the time, every day. Some people, you might find online, some Orthodox Christians will say, well, the Apostle Paul says that we should pray unceasingly, without end. And this is true. We should always be praying. But when he says pray unceasingly, it doesn't mean always have a book in front of you and always be reading to the detriment of anything else that we need to do in our lives, but rather that in addition to the prayers that we do, for example, in the morning or in the evening or before we eat or with our families or in liturgy or any other sacrament, in addition to all those more formalized prayers that we're doing, everything that we do should be a prayer to God. Everything we do should be done prayerfully. It should be done with thanksgiving. It should be done as an offering to God. So, even when I'm at work, let's say I'm a construction worker, I take pride in the work that I'm doing, and I give thanks to God for giving me the ability and the mind to be able to, and the talents to cultivate that skill set. And with every job I do and with every task that I complete, I give glory to God. And so that is also a prayer in itself. And so prayer can happen at any given time. But as far as these kind of set prayers, or these prayers that are structured within the church, these services, the fact that there are services and prayer rules for every moment of the day does not mean that we have to participate in every single one of them. Rather, we have to think of it like a river that is flowing. I tell this to people a lot, that, if you think of a river, it's always flowing, and it's flowing 24/7 all the time, right? The Horologion is like the river of prayer that is always flowing. There is always a service happening. There's always a point in the day where prayer can be done. And we can jump into that river and swim, and we can come out of that river at any given time. So the analogy is that books like this, the Horologion or the Orthodox Prayer Book, they offer to us at any moment in our lives the ability to pray, the ability to engage with God, the ability to enter into communion with Him. And we, depending on our schedule, depending on our lifestyle, depending on what we're doing at that moment, have this beautiful, beautiful privilege of being able to jump into the prayer and then to be able to go back to, for example, our work or to watching our children or to studying or anything else that we do. So the church provides us, through the Horologion and through Orthodox prayer books, it provides us with a constant stream of prayer opportunities, right? It's always there. Just like, for example, the gym, and I know I use the analogy a lot of the gym, a lot of gyms, for example, are open 24 hours a day. The reason being is that if I have a gym membership, I have the privilege of, whenever my schedule allows, I can jump into the gym and do a workout, and then I can kind of get out and go back to work or go back to any other activity. And so the gym is there constantly working, constantly being open, providing its services so that it is convenient for people to kind of jump in and work out whenever they can. It gives people the opportunity. It gives them every opportunity, so they don't have excuses that they couldn't find a gym, for example, or they didn't have a place to go work out. In the same way, the church always provides us the opportunity through the Horologion and through also Orthodox prayer books to pray whenever we can and whenever we want. And it is up to us to engage. Some people engage more than others. Some people do more prayer services a day. Other people do less. But in the end, almost nobody does all of it all the time. Like even monastics and monasteries do not do every single service in the daily book of hours in the Horologion, because then they wouldn't have time to do anything else, like to actually, do their physical chores, to upkeep the monastery, to do other things. And so they may do increased services more than the average person living in the world, but again, they do not do all of them, right? Or they may choose to do more on specific higher feasts and less on other feasts. So again, the point is that if we want to kind of engage in prayer and to kind of start learning how to pray, we should pick up the Horologion or pick up an Orthodox prayer book and start reading those prayers. Maybe we start reading the morning prayers and we read them consistently. Maybe we start reading the evening prayers. Maybe if we work very, very late at night, we have a night shift, we start reading the Mesonichtiko, which is the midnight prayers. Or maybe we are early risers, and so we read the first hour. So there are a lot of things that we can read and start to familiarize ourselves with the prayers of the church. And as we read these prayers more and more, the church gives us the words to say when we don't know the words that we should be using, and we begin to conform ourselves to the spiritual prayer life of the church. And as years go on, we become better at praying, and then slowly we can also start adding our own prayers at the end of the structured prayers, and our prayer becomes more meaningful because we have now become trained in the proper way to pray. And so that's just kind of a little bit of a pointer on how to kind of start to pray, how to engage, is to begin with our Orthodox prayer books and to go from there. And I would say that perhaps one of the most important things about prayer, beyond having the proper tools, which thank God we have today, is consistency, right? Like anything in life, consistency is the most important thing. Even when we fail, even when we don't feel like it, even when we're tired, even when we don't feel like we're getting anything out of it, to be consistent in our prayer life, just like to be consistent in our diet, to be consistent in our workout, to be consistent at work, whether we like to or not, yields benefits, right? Yields, our personal growth, our personal self-control. A lot of things benefit us from consistency. It shows that we have integrity. It builds character within us, and it builds resilience within us. And so that is, a few of my thoughts about how we can begin to pray. I hope it was helpful. Feel free to like and subscribe, and to send us more questions through our Gmail account. Until next time, you can take care, and God bless.